Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jenna Palma, and don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe because you're gonna love it over here, I promise you. So what this video is going to be is me basically putting y'all on game, putting y'all on the sauce. I want everybody to eat. I want everybody to just have these tools with them for any type of job interview that they're going to, because honestly the stuff that I'm going to share today could be used for any job, but I'm going to be sharing with you guys the interview questions that I got and the interview answers that I gave to land me in my new grad ICU position. And there's a few little tips and tricks in here that really helped me get the position. Not just the resume is important, but how you present to the interview and how you act in the interview is just as important. So we're gonna get right into that without further ado. I just wanted to preface this by saying my school would periodically send out job interviews, like mass job interviews or job postings, like even before my senior year, all throughout college really. They would send out random job interviews and stuff, like if there's like a pediatric office that needs a secretary or another office that needs like a medical assistant or something. That's actually how I got one of my PCA jobs, by my school sending out a mass job posting, right? So they do this periodically, and around April-ish I got another job posting from my school telling us that there's going to be, this hospital is basically having open interviews, like they're having open interviews and you can get hired on spot. I saw the hospital and I was just like, I would love to work at this hospital. So I'm like, why not? I signed up for in-person interviews, and it was limited seating, so you really had to get in when you can, but I signed up for it and I went, right? Boom. The attire, okay, so you clearly can't show up looking like a bad guy like me right now. Like, you can't show up to the interviews looking like this. You gotta show up looking very professional, business casual. I've had on some black slacks and like a cream business top. Like it was really just professional, and I had on like flats or something. My hair was tied back, I think, or down, I don't know, but just very professional, you know. We want to look clean, sharp, fresh, and smell good, you know. All of that helps. So before I even went to this interview, right, I was like, I need to be prepared. I cannot just wing this interview because this is my future. So I need to be prepared. So basically what I did is I went on Google Docs, and I made a document and I wrote down every single interview question that you could think of and my answers. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I wrote down every single interview question that you could think of. I went on TikTok to help. Basically, I went on TikTok and I searched up common new grad nurse interview questions, and they gave me, I saw a lot of repeating ones, so I wrote down the ones that repeated the most and just other random ones, and I wrote answers to them, right? I memorized these answers as well. While I'm in the interview, I'm basically spitting back the answers that I wrote, but in a more natural, chill vibe, so it doesn't look like I'm being a robotic just spitting out answers. I made it more chill. Like, I would stop and think sometimes as if I don't know what I'm about to say, like, yeah, oh, and another thing, no, you gotta play the game. You gotta play games. So that's what I did. And then when I got there, it wasn't just my school actually that sent their students to this hospital. So there was Malloy students there, some LIU students there, and I think there was some Adelphi students as well. So it was like a good mixture of people there. I wouldn't say there was a whole lot of people there, but it was a good amount to be having open interviews, you know. So when I first went in, there was sections of specialties that you would want to interview for. If you want to interview for all the specialties, you just wait for all the tables. There's recruiters at each specialty, and you just wait in line to interview with that person. There was L&D, there was tele, med surg, ICU, there was, I think there was psych, basically all the specialties, and you just wait. Me personally, I knew I just wanted to go into ICU. I only sat and interviewed for ICU. That's just me. Mind you, as I'm waiting for this interview, I'm talking to somebody. I actually made like two little friends. I wouldn't say friends, but like, you know how you just click up. They was telling me about their experience. They was saying how they have a lot of EMT experience. They have like basically other experience that I did not have. I was sitting here thinking like, damn, I might be a little underqualified to be applying to this position. EMT experience is good. Like, it's a really good type of experience. I'm just like, damn, like this competition steep. Then I had to think, like, they're not just hiring one person for ICU, so there's room for everybody. So now let's get into the juicy part. We're waiting to interview, and then it's my turn. I hand my resume off to the lady. By the way, make sure your resume is good, work experience, past education, skills, strengths, stuff like that. Just, you know, volunteer experience, clinical hours, make sure your clinical hours are on there. So yeah, I gave her my resume and then we started the interview. So now I'm about to whip out my phone. I'm gonna read to you guys the questions that I got, because I wrote down questions and answers for a lot of things, but I only saved or kept what I remember being asked. And I'm just going to be reading it out to you guys, but just imagine me memorizing what I'm reading and just saying it naturally to the person, because I'm clearly not reading this out to them. But I'm going to read it out to you guys just so that you could, like, so I could help you. And don't plagiarize, you know, because I didn't plagiarize. I made this more myself. So don't plagiarize. This is just to help you. Okay? Okay. So she said, tell me about yourself. I wrote down, hi, my name is Jennifer. I am a senior nursing student at Malloy. I graduate in May and I am taking my NCLEX shortly after that. The last job I held was a medical assistant role in a pediatric office. I just finished my ICU clinical rotations at Memorial Sloan Kettering and I learned about critical ill patients. From that experience, I know I want to be an ICU nurse, hopefully at your hospital if you will take me. Okay, that's really all you gotta say. Gotta keep it nice, cute, don't gotta do too much. So that's what I said for that. Okay, so the next question she asks is, why do you want to work here? With this question, I made sure to include something very personal to the hospital. A lot of hospitals, they have like mission statements or like vision statements or stuff like that. I just basically incorporated their mission statement into this answer. This is what I said. So why do you want to work here? Because during clinical, I was able to see so many different aspects of nursing. I truly fell in love with the profession. Being challenged clinically while working with different disease processes and the interdisciplinary team really allowed me to enjoy what I'm doing. Also, the soft skills I will be doing will help me take care of the patients holistically. I also feel like I love how you guys represent yourselves, even with your mission statement that explains giving quality, comprehensive care that reflects personalized and culturally competent care. It really resonates with me on a personal level because that's everything I want to do myself. I know that sounded like I'm reading off a book, but I'm telling you, it sounded so much more natural and, like, you know, in person, because I didn't just read it off like that. But yeah, I ate that one up. I ate that little one up. I ate that little one question up because when she heard me talk about the mission statement, she was a little gagged. I can't lie. She was a little gagged. She was like, oh. She was a little taken back. The next question that she asked me was, have you ever dealt with a difficult patient or family member? There was a time during clinical where a patient was getting really short-tempered and angry with me because they wanted some more pain meds and they felt like the nurse was withholding it. So I would relay that to my nurse and my nurse would come back saying they're fine, saying they're not in pain. I was so confused and I felt like the patient was toying with me, so I went to the patient and made sure to keep empathy in mind, remain calm and professional at all times. I always say the first pulse I take is my own. Basically what I'm saying there is the patient would come to me and say they want pain meds, and then when I tell the nurse and the nurse goes to them, they're telling the nurse they don't want pain meds. They don't know what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm basically talking about here. She liked that one. She ate that one up a little bit too. Next, then she asked me, tell me about a time you went above and beyond for your patient. One time I had a patient who recently had triple bypass surgery, and by the way, all of these are true. Like, I worked as a PCA, a medical assistant, nursing student in clinical, so I've had a lot of like situations with patients and stuff, like basically stories. So I just thought of a story and just incorporated it into the question. But honestly, if you don't got no stories, girl, just make that shit up, because who's gonna know? Who's gonna know? Nobody. Basically, I was like, one time I had a patient who recently had triple bypass surgery and he was about to see his family for the first time. He expressed sadness for the way he looked, so I took time to ensure he was cleaned and trimmed and combed his hair before his family arrived, and he was very happy. So that was actually true. One time I did that. So to me, that's going above and beyond, because people don't be doing that. So she liked that answer too. I think she liked all of these answers, honestly. Like, when you put thought into answers, they know. They know. After somebody asks you questions and you only say like 3 words or something and like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, and like, and stop saying like. Do not say, I say like every 2 seconds. Like I be having to edit out the likes that I be saying, and some still be making this way through, but there's no likes in here. I was not saying no likes, I was not saying no literallys, I was not saying none of those. Like I wanted to sound as professional as possible. Then she asked me, what is a mistake you've made? I'm gonna read to you what I wrote, but I kind of shortened it in person because it's kind of long, but this is what I wrote. When I was in nursing school, I had a patient who was having a procedure being done that was new to me, and I kind of lost awareness at the moment of how I was coming across to the patient. I was so focused on learning and seeing what was going on, asking all of these questions to the nurse, and the patient spoke to my nurse privately and said they felt like they were more of a show than a patient. I was more so trying to learn and forgot that this was an actual human being who's going through something pretty scary. I learned so much from that situation. I lost sight as to the reason I'm in this room is to care for this patient. So what's more important than my learning is that they get the care that they need. It completely changed how I look at walking in the room and take care of patients, putting their experience and needs ahead of my own. A very humbling but very powerful experience. I made sure to go back to that patient and apologize for how I made them feel. This situation is true, but I kind of embellished it some places just to make it sound better. A lot of the times you're going to notice if you're going to paint yourself in a bad light at first in an answer, always end the answer with something positive. Now on to the coveted strengths and weaknesses. She asked me what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. For my strengths, I said I'm very familiar with teamwork, very familiar with leadership. I worked as a shift supervisor and held a vice and president's position of a cultural dance club in high school. I do believe the skills I've learned with these positions will transfer to my work as a nurse. I could build rapport and therefore trust very easily and quickly. I know how to integrate myself into a team so it can function. I am also very coachable. I love to learn. Tell me I'm wrong and I will assess what I did and fix my mistake for next time. I'm very reliable and accountable. I really wanted to highlight the fact that I'm a team player. Like, these people, when they're looking for people to hire, they just want to know you're a team player. They just want to know you could work with a team. I made sure to mention that a couple times. And you could also be a leader because there's always room for growth with leadership. Then my weaknesses, I said I've never worked as a nurse. I've had clinical experience and worked as a PCA and medical assistant, but never held the role as a nurse. So clearly there will be a huge learning curve there. I am also completely new to this hospital system. I've never worked at, I almost said my hospital name. I've never worked at any locations. I'm excited to be a part of it possibly, but I'm unfamiliar with the charting system, just the whole culture, so another learning curve. So basically I made my weaknesses not too bad. Like, don't tell them that your weaknesses are I'm bad with people. No, your weaknesses should be lack of experience. That should be the most your weaknesses should be, lack of experience, because you've never been a nurse before, so that should be your biggest weakness. You get it? You get it. Okay. Now, those were all the questions I got in the interview, right? She stopped and she said, okay, do you have any questions for me? Do I have any questions for you? Girl, if a person interviewing you asks you if you have any questions for them, you better ask them a question. I don't care if you have to pull it out your ass. You better ask them a question, because it just looks like you're interested in the position. It looks like you care about what you're about to get yourself into, because I'm sorry, if you're coming into something completely new, this is completely new to you, and you have 0 questions for a recruiter, let's get it together. So I made this Google Doc, right? That was the first page, was the questions and stuff like that. On the second page, I had basically wrote down all the questions that I had for my recruiter or my interviewer, same thing. I had 14 questions in total, and I'm going to read them to you just in case you need help with that part of your interview, because anytime somebody asks you if you have questions, you have questions. Whether you have questions or not, you have questions. So ask the questions. I'm not going to answer the questions. I'm just going to read you down, guys, the questions I asked. And by the way, I did print this paper out and brought it with me. So as I was asking her the questions and she was telling me the answers, I was writing the answers on the paper. Question number 1. Do you guys offer nurse education classes for advanced equipment like ICU, CRRT? How is the orientation process? What does the support look like on the shift I will be working on? Is there an educator? What is teamwork and culture like here? Do your nurses actually get breaks? If so, what are the times? Like, are they 15, 30, or 60 minutes? Are there often staffing issues on the floor? What are the nurse-patient ratios? What are the turnover rates on this unit? How long have you been with this organization and how many job titles have you held? And I asked this one in particular just to gauge opportunity for growth in the system, and that kind of ties in with the next question, number 10. How often are your nurses given the opportunity to grow? And I had in parentheses like charge nurse or something like that. How would the current staff describe management? How do you and senior leadership respond to errors in the workplace? Are there opportunities for overtime? And question number 14. Is there anything in my resume or anything we discussed today that instills doubt in my capabilities to excel in this role? When I tell you, I gagged her. I gagged her with that last question. She was not expecting that last question at all. She was not. And I'm not even gonna lie, I got that question from TikTok. That last question right there, me asking her if there's anything that instills doubt, what that question does, it forces the interviewer to go back on the entire interview and look for something wrong. And there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong. And I just forced her to admit it. It's psychology. It's science. It's science and it's beautiful. Like she did one of these, and I'm like, yeah, that bitch, yeah, that bitch. I really ate that up. I'm not gonna lie, I ate that up. I ate the interview up. I ate it up, and I knew I ate it up. Like, even I knew I ate it up. I left so confident from that interview because I was prepared. I've never been this prepared for an interview before, and I suggest you guys do the same because I ate that shit up. And she gave me her information on spot, and she said she will be contacting me, I think that same day, either that same day or the next day. But I got the job. And I was so happy. I was so ecstatic. And another thing, you never should doubt yourself. Never, ever doubt yourself. I was thinking too much into it based off of just experience, but you're not going to be showering in experience in a new grad nursing job. So calm down. I did that, and that interview was bomb. I threw it out the park. So amazing. And I really hope everything I shared with you guys, you are able to take it in and somehow morph it into your own situation to help you and your interviews, because like I said, this is not only the framework for a nursing job, you could kind of switch it and change it to other types of jobs. So I hope this was very helpful. If you guys ever use these answers to questions in interviews, or those questions that I asked, then let me know down in the comments because I want to know if it works. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video or if you like me, and I'll see you guys in my next video, of course. So bye, and good luck on your next interview. Okay, bye.
Just tell me what they wanting. Boy, anything you want, better money. Just tell me